There we go. Just take a moment to embrace the wonderful properties of sage with a smudge to clear the energy off the person in the area where you are and the sacred space that we are cultivating here together. Just taking a few deep breaths just to get centered and become open to receive the messages that are coming through today. Releasing judgment and any other old perceived filters so that we may be guided without prejudice. It's a big message, big message already that's just flooding in and has been a theme for the last couple of weeks as well. Yeah. Well, hello everybody and welcome. My name is Shannon Fisher. I am the creator and facilitator of Webinessence Enterprises. And the Enterprises is now becoming an enterprise. So my business is not just about me anymore and what I can offer people. It's collaborating and co-creating alternative health and wellness with other facilitators with businesses of their own, in full support of each other, coming together to share space and offer what we all have to the community and to each other. So yes, it's very exciting. If you go check out the website at www.webinessence.ca, there are some new events coming up for this month with a new facilitator. I'm super happy and honored to announce Alexandra Dohan of Green Vibration, coming out to work in the sacred space of Webinessence Enterprises here, offering a sound healing journey with Blue Lotus tea. I'm super excited about this. Space is limited, so you will have to reach out to her to get registered. There are 2 dates available this month, and they are Thursday, March 16th and Thursday, March the 30th. If I am not mistaken. Let me just double check. I believe I do have a video up on... Can't find it right now. Anyway, all the events and information are posted under special events, the special events tab on the Webinessence website. So last week we had patience, objectivity, surrender, and acceptance. And it feels like we're just rolling off of all of that into this next week coming up here. So this forecast is for today, March 6th through to March 12th, 2023, and Spirit's already coming in. Don't forget. Spirit has no limits or boundaries on how it delivers its messages. So even though we as humans operate in what's known as linear time, Spirit does not operate in linear time. So even though these messages are guidance for us for what we're focusing on for this upcoming week, it's not limited to be helpful for us during this time only. So if you're ever drawn to watch any of these replays in the future, whether it's a week away, a month down the road, or years down the road, you're being guided for a reason, and not to limit yourself with your perceptions that because the dates were set for this, that it wouldn't be viable and useful for you at that point in time, right? Really, really important here. So the next message that's coming through for us for this week is allowing ourselves to be open even further from where we have been. This is not an easy process because it rubs up against that lower self of ours, and pushes us into an unknown territory, which usually triggers a fight or flight. That one part of ourselves wants to keep us comfortable in the zone of what it already knows. So I mean, it's doing its job. Yeah, I've talked about this before in the past. Our ego, or lower self, if you will, is programmed to keep us safe. And but the problem with that is that anything new and unknown is a potential threat to that part of ourselves. So it will get triggered. But it is up to us as creators and masters of ourself to recognize these triggers and be accountable for how we feel, understand what's coming up, and shift out of fear to embrace the new and see where it takes you, because it's a pretty magical ride. Right. So I hope a lot of you were able to relax and rejuvenate throughout the week. I know for myself, I had been shut down with that cold the week previous, and then this last week was really quite flowing for me. And then as long as I was doing what I needed to take good care and love of myself, then the other doors started opening up again, which is just how it works. Right? So moving into this week here, I got woken up at, I think it was like around 6:00 in the morning. My alarm wasn't set till 7, but my cat, Merlin, he was like, you need to get up right now. And when I realized after I woke up that this was a persistent message from Spirit to wake me up, because they were giving me a message to be able to deliver for everybody here today. And I don't know how this will fit in your life, but I can see where it's fitting with mine and where I need to apply it. So the message was to reach out and reconcile. So this is interesting. Of course, you're not going to reach out to anybody that doesn't want to have anything to do with you, right? But there are ways that we can still reach out and reconcile with people from the past, where we don't have to do it face to face in the 3D world. Yes, we can tap in through our hearts, shift our vibration to the higher levels of consciousness, where we meet the consciousness in the higher levels of other people and have a conversation openly, honestly, right? Accountable for all of self. This is where we can apologize for anything we may have said or done or didn't say or didn't do that ended up causing some kind of problem unintentionally, but it caused a problem. So we can reconcile it on a different level of consciousness, and we're doing it like a telepathic link with the higher selves of the other people. And it's really important to do this because the 3D world is very locked into certain ways, and when people don't know how to shift into a place of unconditional love and respect, I mean, how in the heck is this world and people within communities supposed to reconcile differences if you're not open to understand that people have different perspectives, and that doesn't mean it's a personal attack or that something's being done in a malevolent way, right? We're not all going to see eye to eye, but when we start embracing unconditional love and respect each other's differences and understand that the core beliefs are all the same, right? And we don't let fear, judgment, discrimination, prejudices blind how you're seeing a situation, and you allow yourself to open up to love and a different understanding of what might be taking place. This is what's going to, number one, free yourself of the torment you're clinging on to, right? And it's also going to help align into that more peaceful way of being with others, even when we might not like each other because we just don't resonate with each other, which is absolutely fine. But I like to make sure that when I fall short or I'm beginning to judge a situation or person or whatever for something, I stop myself. I'll retreat. I'll go inwards and go, where is this coming from? It has nothing to do with the other person. It has to do with what I've got going on inside myself. And this is what accountability is all about, and how you're going to be able to shift out of being directed by your outside circumstances and become the director of your life movie. Right? So with the reach out and reconcile, if there's people that you feel you want to come into harmonious balance with energetically, because you might not be able to do that physically, then sit in that heart space, do the meditations, and raise your vibrational frequency and meet them with their higher selves and have that conversation energetically, spiritually, if you will, and then let it go, because it's really, really important to move out and away from the past and the things that caused discord. If we keep holding on to resentment or feelings of being wronged, like these are all judging a situation, which actually has us holding on to it and resisting the letting go of it. So don't take others' opinions, viewpoints, or even their actions, what they do personally, even when it can very much look like a personal attack. It's not personal on you, it's personal to them. And when you know and trust yourself, and you are cultivating a very good relationship with yourself, you know your values, and you align yourself with who and what you feel is right for you, right? In this human experience, it's really important for you to just do and whatever it is that feels right. And when things don't feel right, don't be afraid to speak up and say something, because it's in the miscommunication or non-communication of things where things don't get dealt with. It's like lifting up a rug and sweeping whatever it is that came up under the rug, and the rug goes back down, and then, oh, here comes another thing. No, we're not dealing with it. Under the rug it goes, and next thing you know, there's this big hump, big bump underneath the rug. Guess what? We will end up tripping on that one day and fall flat on our faces. It's part of the learning curve. To ignore, resist, and avoid what needs to be faced and dealt with within ourselves is what contributes to a lot of our pain and suffering. And it's a choice. We all have it. We can't blame anybody else for making us feel the way we feel, because our feelings belong to us. They don't belong to anyone else. That's not to say don't speak up when somebody is disrespecting you, right? You can absolutely call them on it in the moment. Like, hey, that was uncalled for. I don't deserve to be treated that way. Um, you know, and this will help bring awareness and shine light on a situation where maybe the other person wasn't recognizing where they were coming from either, because avoidance runs rampant in those that are not ready to face themselves and be fully accountable for self. So our message is here, right? Trust yourself, but you need to know yourself and cultivate that good loving relationship with yourself. Don't take other people's opinions and viewpoints or even actions personally. If we're taking it personally, we're still being directed by the outside forces. We're not being accountable for our own self and really getting to the core issue of what's taking place inside, right? So we all reflect and project what we carry within. And life is like a movie, right? Like, and we're the main character of our movie, right? My world and what I'm living in, what I perceive, this is my movie, and I'm the main character. Everybody else in it has a role to play. Everybody has a role to play. But when we realize that we are not just the main character, but we're the director of this movie as well, then we can flip the script when things aren't working in our favor, right? But with great power comes great responsibility, everyone. Nobody gets to bypass that deep inner shadow work in order to embrace the full light that we have within, right? It's not easy to do this shadow work and to face the self on the level instead of like on a very deep level, instead of trying to figure out everybody else and what they're doing. That's ego. And the projections and judgments that we're placing on what we think others are feeling, doing, and saying because of where we're perceiving they're at is very limited, because we can only perceive where they are based on where we are. And yeah, so being able to realize that, you know, you are also the director of this movie, this simulation of this physical reality we call life. If you want more peace in your life, you have to be peaceful. It's all cultivated within and gets projected outside, right? Um, yeah, I find it frustrating with this particular message because I have a lot of people that I witness all over the world still fighting for peace. And this message isn't getting through yet, and I pray, I wish with all my might it will get through to people soon, because you wake up to the truth that if you believe you have to fight for everything, then you are still playing in that old movie of the past, which is divide and conquer. If you're fighting, you're in a division, right? And I get it. There are things that you need to stand up for, right? But fighting for it is playing that same old game. It's a trap. And you're continuing to choose to suffer. And your bodies will scream at you and tell you, I hurt, I'm tired, I can barely move. Yet you push and go out and do it again. If we're not listening to our bodies, we're not listening to our higher power and internal guidance that is available to all of us. And when we don't trust that everything is happening exactly as it needs to, and that we're going to shift out of some perceived chaos or injustices, if there's no faith there, then how the heck will you ever move into what that objective is that you're so-called fighting for? Stop fighting, right? We need to cultivate that peace within in order for it to get projected, like the movie Projector, and it gets shown in the outside world, because the outside world's just going to reflect it back to you. If we all shift the focus onto self instead of trying to dictate to others what they need to do, and stop being dictated by others telling you what you need to do, and just do you. Do your own thing. Create your own peace, your own health and wellness that works for you, that's rooted in the truth of what is healthy. Be careful. The ego is very, very convincing to keep you stuck in old patterns because of comfortableness and familiarity, even though it is not good for you. So, Spirit came up with, life is a movie. Are you directing it, or are you being directed? Sit with that question. Spirit's asking all of us to sit with that question and find out. It's very easy actually to figure out, because if you're triggered and in reaction mode, reacting, you're being directed by your outside influences instead of honing in and reining in that position of director, which is always available for you to take the seat in, right? But when you become the director, you become accountable for every scene that gets played out, because you realize it's a reflection of you, right? Okay. Is that it for right now on that? Yes. Starting with the Ascended Masters, I'm going to pull 3 cards for this upcoming week for all of us. And then I'm pulling an additional message of guidance from the Divine Energy Oracle. And one more additional guidance coming from the Messenger Oracle. Okay, so when I use multiple, well, any decks really, but I always use multiple decks because I love it. Excuse me. Once I pull the main messages, and the main messages are going to be connected as guidance for us as we are navigating our physical reality, right? The 3D. And then what remains at the bottom of the deck after I pulled the main messages is what's referred to as a bigger picture overview and or spiritual higher self perspective, right? And it's really awesome because what we're going through down in the physical reality of 3D, in the 5D, right? Or the spiritual reality, this is what it's all about, right? So this is the focus of what we're going through and experiencing and how to navigate it, but it's to get us to this place, the bigger picture. Okay, so I'm going to start with the bigger picture. of all three of these decks right now. The first one from Ascended Masters, we got Mother Mary with Nurture Yourself. So we are learning with the messages that we're being given in the physical how to take better care and embrace and cultivate unconditional love with self, because we are not going to be able to give unconditional love to others, especially in times of conflict. How can you embrace unconditional love if you don't cultivate that within yourself first and foremost? So nurturing yourself is all about this unconditional love of self and with your divineness that we all have within, right? And then we are also cultivating and learning how to raise your vibration, which is when we love ourselves unconditionally and we are doing that care and reflective work and nurturing ourselves, we raise our vibrational frequencies. And when you raise your vibrational frequency, you move out of stuckness. You can create more calmness in your life, which promotes health and well-being on all levels. And it aligns you more with that higher aspect and the divine or the spiritual nature of who we are. I call it the light, right? Raise your vibration. You connect more with the light. You get greater clarity and you get more energy. You get a lot of things, but this is great responsibility. In order to cultivate all that, you have to be doing a lot of deep, nurturing, self-love work. It all starts here. I cannot give what I do not have. And this week we are also cultivating patience. Right? So they're saying don't react in a situation. It's important to pause, step back, to reflect internally and not reflect on what you think is coming from the other person. This is a reflection on, this is how I'm feeling. Where are these feelings coming from? So you want to reflect upon yourself because you only have control over yourself. And this is accountability. My feelings belong to me. I was triggered by this event, but it's not their fault. I'm not giving them my power. Why do I feel this way because this came up? Where in me is something happening that this drew into my life in order to trigger these feelings so that I can face this, I can embrace this, and then I can shift and transcend it. And then it'll clear out. Eventually it will clear out and you won't be getting these things coming back into your life. Okay. All right. Spirit saying, read the Be Patient one. So, and I will take pictures of all of these cards. I make a TikTok video with the pictures of the full write-up. And then I also post it on my Facebook page. So Webinescence Enterprises. And I believe TikTok is at Webinescence. So you can feel free to go check out those platforms to get the full definition instead of just the intuitive version that's coming through in the moment. So now is not the time to act. Now is the time to show self-restraint, to be patient, and to wait. Do not let your desire for an outcome or resolution result in one that is not to your liking, because you forced it to manifest before it was time. Trust that all will be as it is meant to be when it's meant to be. So it's time for us to get out of our own way of micromanaging every little thing and shift out of the ego, because that's coming from ego. Shift out of the ego, hook up to your higher power, and allow it to show you the way. And when something's not coming, it's not because it's not meant for you, it's just not now, right? So we are learning to, this upcoming week, we will learn how to be still in moments where we're hoping things are happening, and let go of all frustration and impatience, and remember that good things come to those who wait. So having that trust and that faith in the higher power, and that the universe is supporting us and guiding us, but we as the human aren't meant to create the how. We have a vision, but then we hook up to the higher power and say, hey, this is my vision. I see this. I feel this. Show me the way. Let it go. And allow, when the time is divinely right, for the opportunities to present themselves. And that's when you take action. So dropping down into our main messages for this upcoming week, starting with the Ascended Masters, we have Melchizedek here with spiritual law of attraction. Okay, so this is really cool. I had a client last week and we were talking about manifestation exercises and how to shift from a mindset of, oh, I really hope that I get this. It's that vibration is like not really trusting, and you can tell by the facial expressions and the energy kind of pulled back, like not really believing that you're having it. So the exercise is to sit and have like I want to say a daydream about what it is that you want to achieve, right? So you hold the vision of already successfully achieving that goal, and then you write it down as if it's already achieved, and then say thank you to the universe. and it was amazing. This client messaged me a day or two later, and they got confirmation from the universe in a very strange way. Confirmation of every goal that they had put down that they were working on the night before. It was absolutely amazing. So the spiritual law of attraction, and everything is energy, and we as humans, we emit and receive, right? We emit energy and then we receive energy. So this energy, these energetic vibrational frequencies of information that we're putting out to the universe, is based on how we're feeling, what we believe, and what we say. So here's where it's really important to be impeccable with your word. If you do not want a negative happening in your life, then don't let negative statements, even if they're jokes, to come out of your mouth, because your word is your wand, and something's going to come around. God forbid it'll be exactly the way that it was if it's a negative thing. Like, but if you catch yourself saying something, be aware, catch yourself, and then immediately say, I delete and uncreate, destroy all of what I just said. Put a stop to that energy vibration that just got pumped out, and hopefully it'll fizzle out, so that something that ends up coming back is going to be so subtle and little, it's not going to have a huge impact on you. But this is why it's really important not to be reacting in a moment, because if you're reacting to what's perceived as a negative situation, you're actually going to create more of that, right? So we're all gonna get schooled on a whole nother level this upcoming week of the spiritual law of attraction, which is just there to remind you that you can control how you feel and what you say in order to get a different result or achievement with what it is where you want a specific alignment in your life, right? The manifestation is what's connected to the spiritual law of attraction. We manifest what we put out based on our beliefs, our feelings, what we say, and what we do. So if you want to cultivate peace, again, be peaceful. Say statements that are peace, are in alignment with peace and compassion for self and for others, even when we're not operating on the same wavelength. It's okay. Everybody's here to have their own journey and learn their own lessons in life to help them grow in the way that they were meant to, and that has nothing to do with me, right? Or you. So yes, even though we would like to save each other from perceived harm and disease and all that kind of thing, some people have signed up to have that experience because it's part of their journey, and it's not up to anyone else to try to interfere with that. Accountable for self. This is where your mastery is, not trying to convince and change anyone else. So we're also going to understand by drinking more water, we're going to help ourselves become more clear. Drinking pure water helps purify the body. It helps lube the body. Water to our bodies is like oil to an engine of a car. If we don't have sufficient amounts of water, our joints get stiff. You're going to start cracking or seize up even. You're going to feel hungry, or at least the message from the lack of water can be perceived as hunger instead of, so when you do feel hungry or what you think is hunger, drink a 16-ounce glass of water before you have some food, right? And it also promotes like, well, you drink enough water, you can flush out impurities better than having them sit in there causing problems, right? And it will promote better clarity, function in the brain. So there's not these mixed signals taking place. So we are 80% made up of water, roughly. So it's really important that each day we are drinking sufficient amounts of water and working with water in a more sacred way too. You can take a glass of water, put your hand over it, and say the words love, blessings, health, and wellness. That vibration is being projected into the water, and water has a molecular structure that holds memory. And the vibration of the words and the feelings we're infusing to the water, you bless that water and you drink it and you be grateful. You're going to feel it go in, and it's going to feel and taste wonderful. So yes, you do not need to go to somebody else to get blessed water. You can do it yourself. We are all capable of the same connections as every other human being on this planet, regardless of the storylines that have been placed out there that only some people are allowed to be practicing and doing certain things. It's bullshit. We all are directors and masters of ourself. Get into alignment with the truth of that and do these things for yourself. Moving forward, we got El Morya, with clear and shield your energy, right? So another practice, because energetically we put energy out, we receive energy in. It's really important to have a good practice, a daily practice where you are energetically releasing and giving back other people's energies and projections that do not belong to you. And for those of us that are highly sensitive and empathic, highly sensitive empaths, it's really important to be managing our energies every single day, if not multiple times a day, so that we are. And it's not like protecting your energy in the way that you need to defend yourself, but it's a boundary within your energy field, because your energy field belongs to you, and you want to set intentions that you don't take on and process what's not yours, which is what we energetically do if we're not aware that we need to supplement this kind of work. And when you do this type of daily work, and it's daily work, it's something you cultivate and practice for your life here. It's not something you do, start feeling better, and then just stop. And then you realize you fall back into the same overwhelm and anxiety because you're processing 90% of other people's stuff instead of just being in your own energy processing what's yours to process. And this helps to become an observer instead of a reactor, right? So maybe there's going to be new ways to realize what works for you with that clearing and shielding your energy. Again, not in a protection of I'm under attack kind of thing, a protection as a boundary and with the intentions, because you are mastering and cultivating your own energy, which is all that we're all supposed to just be doing to begin with. Right? That's your responsibility, not mine, or anybody else's for that matter. So, and it's very easy. And when you start with that practice and you do the meditations and visualizations and energy work that goes with that, you're going to start feeling so much better that, of course, you want to continue. You're going to want to continue that practice without fail, because it's cultivating that balance, right? And promoting optimal health and well being within your mind, your body, and your spirit as a whole. So, our first additional message of guidance down in the physical reality for us this week is go with the flow, right? Go with the flow. So, when something doesn't resonate or has you triggered, retreat. That's a sign that there's some inner work that needs to be done. Go with that flow. Not go with the flow. Oh, this doesn't feel right, I'm supposed to just go with it. No. That's not what that means. It means to recognize what's come up for you and go do your work with it on a personal level. How you feel is personal to you, doesn't belong to the other person, right? So shift out of focusing on what the other person said or did and go within yourself. Well, what's the lesson I need to learn from this? And what part of me was holding on to something that has got this kind of emotion that obviously was suppressed, but is now coming up for recognition, reconciliation, and a chance to nurture yourself with it, right? That's what that is. And then going with the flow of the opportunities when they present, not something that you are forcing to create, because that's not in alignment. The universe didn't give that to you. You're forcing that, right? You don't want to force anything. If you want to be successful in all areas of your life, don't force anything. Just do what feels right in the moment with that higher guidance, not what just the brain and the lower self is conjuring up for you. The signs and the opportunities will be very clear. There's no way that you can miss them. And when you're aligned with your higher self, you're aligned with that level of trust and faith. So if you don't have trust and faith that things are working out, that's a clear sign that you are operating from the lower self, which is very limited. So it's really important for us to challenge our perception, which is the next last message for us. Challenge your perception. Where am I operating from? Who is driving this bus of mine, this physical suit? Is it the lower self with its limitations and need for control over everything and everyone in its life? Or is it actually coming from that higher power? And you'll know, because the lower self has no trust and faith that it's going to work out, and will convince you that you have to go above and beyond in order to force it to happen, because there's no trust and faith there. So it's, for me, it's easy for me to tell where I'm operating from, and I'll catch myself, and I'll reflect upon it, and I'll have that conversation with the lower self and go, hey, thank you for showing up. There is no perceived danger here. And yeah, I get it. You want things to happen now. You want to know your security for the future right now, but that isn't connected to faith and trust that I'm being supported, which I actually know I am. Divinely supported. I'm divinely protected. This doesn't mean that I'm not going to discern situations and know when something isn't good, because when it doesn't feel right, it's because it's not. So you have a choice. Steer clear instead of react and trying to change that. Right? Challenge your perception about yourself in order to create the change and the healing that's ready to take place in the moments of our triggers. Going with that flow, surrendering to the higher power, allowing yourself to feel so you can heal. You're going to humble yourself in a way you've never done before, and that is going to align you more with your inner child, which has always been connected to the divine light or creator of all that is, which is who you are at your core. All right. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful week. And for those that were unable to join me for the live broadcast, if you're watching this on the replay during this week, so I got to cap it off here for you. So anytime from March 6th to March 12th, 2023, go ahead and comment a question that you would like for me to ask Spirit and pull a card from one of the mini decks that I have to help give you some clarity, validation, and or guidance that you may be seeking. And I will be happy to deliver that for you. Shine bright, for you do have the light within you. And now is the time to get in alignment with that and cultivate that with a daily practice. Raising your vibration, nurturing ourselves, and learning patience is the bigger picture for what we're currently working on this week, which is more hydration, understanding that what comes into our lives was because of what we projected out, and then how to manage your energy better in order to get those results and experiences that are more to your liking, opposed to teaching you some hard lessons. But it's all happening for you, not to you. So go with the flow and challenge your perception about yourself, not your judgment on someone else. This life is so amazing. All right, shine bright. We are all beautiful souls, and I will see you again next week. Namaste.